Old Swanner here. Today, in this third in the series on finger independence, we'll be considering the subject of stretch as it relates to finger independence. So I'm not talking about this sort of stretch, reaching large distances. I'm referring more to the stretch within the hand, in the understructure or infrastructure of your hand. The sort of stretch that would allow me, for example, to push out finger 2 without the rest of them moving in sympathy. That which is in the hand ties things together, and if we can elongate it over time, loosen things up a little bit, we find that an awful lot of things on guitar get an awful lot easier. To highlight some of these issues of stretch in the left hand, the hidden stretch, I came up in 2010 with a pattern I call the double chromatic. Now, we've used chromatics one step at a time or one fret at a time in both the videos of this series so far. Firstly, the spider exercises, and secondly, the chromatic octaves. For the double chromatic, we're going to take two chromatic patterns. The first on the G string, going from frets 12 to 15, and the second on the B string, also going from 12 to 15, but beginning on 14. Now, putting them together gives quite a challenge. It looks like this. Not very musical, but definitely challenging. I've measured myself over the years on this. You can see my measurements if you go to the companion blog article on my website relating to this video. The link's in the box underneath. Now, as always, I don't prescribe this pattern as any sort of magical formula which by repeating it will make you better. All it is, like any pattern I ever present, is a test of what you can do, where your level's at, how well things function. If things start functioning better, you'll find you can do it faster. Hence, measuring it gives you that feedback. You're monitoring whether your practice is making you better or not. So I'm 7 years in or more into examining this particular pattern. I think I've trebled the speed near enough, and I will continue to work on things like this. Maybe not even this pattern, but other things that relate to the same problems in the hand. Hence, by developing the hand, maybe using completely different patterns, I should find that I can get increased speed on a pattern like this, maybe without ever having even practiced it in the meantime, just because my tool or tools for doing the job have been improved. As I said before, just repeating these patterns mindlessly will likely not give you much benefit, certainly not after a little while anyway. Where it really gets interesting is where you're completely stuck and you've no idea how to improve. You've completely exhausted any benefit you get by repeating the pattern. That's where things get interesting, and I think in the upcoming episodes of this series we'll start looking at the sort of approaches I use to develop the stretch and the associated strength which gives you the finger independence that we all want. We all want improvement in. So here's to that. I'll put the tab for this double chromatic on my website, and also add in, I think, the one that brings it back down. Basically the same in reverse, but we'll chuck you some slightly different challenges. The movements are different, even though it's really the same pattern backwards. If you were to measure both of them, you'll find there's probably a discrepancy between one and the other, and you can see which is the weaker, and that can become the focus of your practice. If you keep working on the weaker one, you'll probably find the stronger of the two gets an awful lot better as well. So coming up in the rest of the series on finger independence, we'll probably come up with some different patterns to look at as well. But I'm going to start moving towards looking at the tools, the approaches, the techniques I use to elicit a bit more strength, a bit more stretch, and together giving you the independence that we're after in your left hand. All this stuff will apply equally to anyone with right hand issues. The same approach of measuring and monitoring, awkward patterns and ensuring that you get improvement over time, to show that you're not wasting your practice time just repeating things mindlessly and going nowhere. So if it's caught your interest, like and subscribe. You can subscribe here on YouTube and you'll see the videos. If you subscribe on my blog, you'll get all the latest blog articles posted direct to your inbox, and you can also download for free my practice PDF, which includes the tabs and measuring boxes for the patterns not only in this particular episode but for every other article on my blog. Enjoy.